Shakalaka. Today's video, I am joined by Bill Noble of Token Metrics. We're going to be talking about some of the most undervalued metaverse projects out there because this is a mega trend and you definitely want to know how to find the best projects you possibly can. Plus, we're also going to be taking a look at the general state of the market. And guys, if you haven't checked it out yet, Token Metrics is having a huge sale for Black Friday, 40% off using the link and the code down in the description and the pinned comment. You definitely want to check it out. Stay tuned for this awesome interview. Bill, welcome back to the channel. Pleasure to have you. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. Thank you for having me.
Man, I am stoked, and I know the audience is stoked because we always love to have you on here. So, first things first, happy Thanksgiving to you and to everybody watching. They'll probably be seeing this episode on Black Friday, which reminds me, Token Metrics is having a huge Black Friday sale in the discounted link down in the description and the pinned comment. But tell me, what are you up to?
Metaverse, man. All day, every day. No joke, banging away on our site. Our site was built for this type of trade where you have a sector that's flying and most amazingly, it's created equity market action where like metaverse up, rest of the market down, vice versa. Right. So, I mean, I'm just hip deep in the metaverse because I think Facebook's entry into the space allows the crypto market to price in, I don't know, every good thing that's ever going to happen with the metaverse now, just like they did with internet stocks back in, don't laugh, 1999.
All right.
Nobody was born then, but yeah.
When you say don't laugh, immediately that makes me laugh. But okay, so what are you doing to take advantage of this? Because I know with Token Metrics 2.0, you have all the categories. There's a metaverse category. You can click on that. How specifically are you doing it?
All right, couple layers. So I'm looking at the top rated coins, right? And I'm seeing if they translate into our portfolios. If they do, I look at the chart, right? So RAI it's machine learning. So it's learned Elliott wave. It's learned momentum trading, like what a commodity trading advisor would do, like just go with the mo and buy every dip. And it's also learning something I call the bigger the base, the higher in the space. So I'm looking at rankings of the top coins. I'm looking at charts to figure out where to buy the dip. And I'm also looking at coins that are maybe lower rated, not super low, but lower rated coins, because I'm looking for what's next, because that's what's happening. There's not only rotation in the market where it's like metaverse up, Bitcoin down, but there's also rotation going on inside the metaverse, right? Like as of this recording, everyone's like taking some profit in SANDBOX and buying Network, right? So I'm trying to figure out what's next. Like, Avagochi, maybe one of the next coins. Okay. IOI showed up this morning in the rankings. What the hell was that? Top ranked coin. Immediately investigating it. And then to complete the circle, essentially, I believe that this is a mega trend. Now, I may get stopped out eventually, but basically, I'm going to BTFD in all these coins, put a stop in, and bet that hedge fund forced buying, all right, is going to continue to propel this throughout the rest of the year. Because make no mistake, they can't miss this trade.
Yeah, and using Token Metrics is so easy. Like the one thing that I love about it is it's totally simplified doing research behind coins for me. Because it used to be like, you'd go to CoinMarketCap. This was before CoinGecko existed. You go to CoinMarketCap. You'd look down on page like 4, 5, 10, something like that. You'd click on every coin there. What's this? What's this? What's it? And like now you can just go to Token Metrics. You click on the metaverse category. I like to look at the monthly time frame because you taught me to do that, and to find like the good long-term plays, and then just go through there and find the ones that are like ranked 1,000 something. Do a little bit of research. If they seem legit, boom, simple and easy, And some of them are going up like hundreds of percents in days.
Days.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and can you imagine, speaking of our Black Friday sale, when those monthly indices change, because they changed at the end of every month. So every day we're getting new daily ones. The one for Kraken has been performing amazing, right? On a day-to-day basis, because if something shows up every day, you know it's like a mega trend or it's about to move. So we're going to be getting new weeklies, new monthlies, and obviously new dailies, in 3 or 4 days. So, the AI is going to give you more hints about what it thinks of the metaverse. It could be take profits, right? It could be rotating to different coins. Okay. Whatever it is, I can tell you this much. This is a zero shill comment. I have never been more in our site on the ratings page as I have been over the last 2 weeks, because I believe the metaverse thing is a mega trend like 2004, don't laugh, when oil went from 55 to 140, because the Chinese were big buyers of oil, just like today, Facebook's in the metaverse, right? And stuff can go a lot higher, a lot faster, and a lot harder than maybe people think. Again, I'm going to do it until I'm proven wrong.
And, you bring up a good point there, because I think, I know me personally, I've taken this whole Facebook into the metaverse thing somewhat lightly, because I didn't even think about it until you just mentioned it. It may be where Facebook is in the metaverse, they start to see some insane profits from it, and then Instagram in the metaverse, and TikTok in the metaverse, and every other thing wants to be in the metaverse as well. So, yeah.
Right. Facebook is running what I think, frankly, are cool looking commercials with young people who don't do Facebook, who likely do Snapchat, right? They're running commercials on American college football games. And you watch this catchy commercial and you don't really realize what it is until at the end it says Facebook Meta. And as soon as I saw that, and I got a comment from a viewer way back when, a week ago, where it was like, yeah, SANDBOX is not going to dip underneath 2.5. And I just looked at that comment, thought about those football commercials, and I'm like, it's on. It's on, right? You get in a career, you may see 3 or 4 of these trades, if you're a lifer like me. So, you may watch this a month from now and be like, oh, well, too bad that guy was sort of bullish near the top of the metaverse. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I'm just gonna buy the dip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with that as long as you don't FOMO into the top of projects. Like that's one things that I loved about using token metrics is, like, I've made these videos where I talk about coins that have a chance to go up a lot, because I talk about them when they're at quite a pullback, but they still have very solid fundamentals. They have great code reviews, and it's like a lot of them have taken off already, like 5-6x already. And it's like, people are like, how can you pick that? And it's like, well, it's simple. You find good bones and eventually they'll do well.
That's right. I mean, like, something like SANDBOX takes off up to 8. You tell people to take money off the table. And like you said, you put them in perhaps some of these smaller cap projects. In other words, why would you go on Pancake Swap and chase, IDOs from metaverse projects that don't even have websites, when you could go to our site, and find coins that are, maybe low or middle market cap, but are decent, have websites, have, you have to do your own research, but you don't have to chase, crap. Right. You can look at good coins on our site, chart them and just, ride the trend. And it, outside the metaverse, this includes Phantom, Avalanche. Everybody thinks ETH can't take off. That's interesting, right?
Dude, as a matter of fact, 1 million ETH burned already with EIP 1559. I mean, it's all happening, I think, on the sideline. People don't realize that ETH is kind of gearing up, because the biggest burner for ETH right now is NFTs. NFTs are mad hot. Everybody's buying their NFTs. They don't realize they're causing ETH to become like deflationary, very deflationary, to the point where all of a sudden you can't get it, and then the price soars. But hey, yeah.
The biggest trades occur when people don't pay attention. right? Like we have seen retail FOMO into the top of projects, but what's the opposite of that? Oh, everyone's just ignoring it. It's right there in front of you, right? But no one's paying attention. Like as soon as Facebook got involved in the metaverse, that was like, whoa, nobody expected that. ETH is the same thing, right? Everybody's blowing that off. And probably in Bitcoin, when that December legacy futures contract expires, Bitcoin may wake up because that may, that ETF stuff that goes on with the mechanics of the ETF may have caused the slumber in BTC. And that may wake up in January. So the way to find the trades and the themes, other than watching token metrics and staying with crypto love, is just figure out what everyone's ignoring. That's obvious, right? Like the ETH burn.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, DeFi seems like it's poised for another big run. Like I saw today in the news that Celsius got another $750 million funding. They're got a $10 billion valuation. And meanwhile, they have a $1.8 billion market cap. It's like you see all these dog meme coins, and I'm sure, I mean, they're popular, but much higher market caps than maybe worthwhile, whereas one that has a valuation much higher than what it's at, still resting underneath. So yeah, I'm curious though about metaverse. Do you have an opinion as investing in the metaverse tokens versus buying metaverse property or different things like actually in the metaverse?
Okay, good question. So I'm guessing land in the metaverse is rapidly on its way to becoming a big money game, right? Like, it's all about, I call it going bored ape, right? I'm assuming that. I mean, obviously, if you can get land, it's like real estate. If you can get location, great. I think in the meantime, right, the speculative trade, because people may not be able to afford the land, right, is to jump into the tokens. Right. So if you can get the land is probably a hodl, right? If you want to, say, okay, where do I want to be for the next 5 years? Or where do I want to park money through a bear market? It's probably land. As long as you don't, buy it after 100x's.
As long as you don't buy swampland in Florida.
That's right. Right. Or oceanfront property in Montana. Right. And I'm sure there's going to be some of that happening. But in the meantime, like I said, the hot money, I think it's not only going to be metaverse, but it may also be the tokens of these NFT marketplaces. Because remember, if you have an ad billboard inside the metaverse, that ad billboard's an NFT, and then you can let another NFT advertisement appear on your billboard.
Yeah, I saw some big ones ranking like ad shares and Nifty X. Yeah, so those are definitely ones to take a look at.
That's right. So
you mentioned earlier, just a little bit earlier, about how things could be panning out towards like January, and one of the things that I look at is just the Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index, because that kind of brings together 10 different indices that could help predict the end of the market, and it's like nowhere near the top. It's like 50% right now. And so do is it historically, and granted, history rhymes, but it doesn't always repeat itself. Past performance, not an indicator of future success, but historically, 2 Decembers after a halving, it kind of tanks. But it's looking like, I feel like the market's getting mass adoption, like the mass adoption we were talking about in 2018. 2 stadiums named crypto. We have the crypto.com stadium in LA. We have the FTX stadium in Miami. We have commercials all the time. Like you mentioned, the Meta commercials, there's crypto.com commercials. So like, what's your feeling on the general trend of the market?
I think come January, most investors are going to say, all right, I need a 1 to 2% allocation to crypto, or people with Coinbase accounts seem to say, I want to get involved. My godson in Jersey called me up, the kid's 17, and he's like, I got some money. I want to get involved. What do I do? I was like, well, go to PayPal and try some ETH, not investment advice. Right. Try some.
Did you say that to him?
No, I did not. I did not. But It's when relatives call you, it's a higher level of pressure. You don't want to
Definitely.
have relatives FOMOing in at the top and having it drop 50%, especially if the
Definitely.
kid doesn't really understand how this thing can move.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think we're headed towards mass adoption. And one of the things you get when you get mass adoption is you get price action that's very similar to bigger markets. So this may nauseate people, but this sector rotation game that we're seeing, I'm having fun with it because I remember this from legacy. So rather than the market tanking, you may have coins that everyone owns do nothing or go down 10%, while coins that no one owns 3x. Because that's what happened last week. And, it's like a cold in a kindergarten classroom, right? Volatility and range trading is contagious. So if something sits like Bitcoin, it could continue to sit until something big happens. Or if something is volatile or is rallying, it can continue to do so again until something stops it. So rather than a cataclysmic top, you may have this really annoying pain trade where the stuff on Coinbase kind of minus ETH kind of dies, and the stuff that nobody can get access to or understands rallies, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing a lot of that right now with the projects that are listed on Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, Uniswap, stuff like that. Those are the ones that really take off. And using the categories and token metrics has been like worth
That's
its
right.
weight in Bitcoin.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
almost going to say worth its weight in gold, but
Right. I mean, I am going metaverse coins on KuCoin, right? I just want to see all that stuff. These smaller cap exchanges are where the action is at. And to me, it feels like in 2017, people had heard of Bitcoin, but didn't understand it. And they got motivated to learn when it went from 5,000 to 20K. The metaverse is the same thing. They've heard of it. They don't get it. But, kind of the pain trade is it's all occurring on, exchanges that people normally don't participate in if we're talking about, plain vanilla American investors.
and also one of the big differences between now and 2017 is that back then you had to buy Bitcoin before you could buy anything else, pretty much. I think
That's
like
right.
Coinbase only had Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, and that was it. And so
Right.
now you can, if you can get a Coinbase account, you have pretty much access to anything, or many other accounts, you can get many different cryptocurrencies and then trade them however you want. So yeah, there's definitely a different mentality. Like I saw an article where they were calling Bitcoin boomer coin now. I was like, man.
Right. And that's really interesting, and that speaks to this pain trade, right? Like bull markets are not nonstop parties. They can be just as difficult as bear markets, right? Because now, as in equities, you got to figure out what sector to be in. It's not just this party where everything just all goes up at once. So yeah, Bitcoin could be boomer coin. I mean, it's going to be in an ETF for equity market investors. They're, they've had a lot of fun buying FANG stocks. So I don't know. It makes sense that they may want to do Bitcoin or boomer coin or whatever you want to call it. It's still Bitcoin. It's still a store of value. And when 10 years of value has been priced into the metaverse, people may go, okay, I'm getting out of this. What can I get into? Oh, yeah, that other coin I was making fun of, just like everybody was probably making fun of SANDBOX and Decentraland and the movie Ready Player One until it's smoke tire. So it's a joke until it smokes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we talked about metaverse, talked a little
Right.
bit about NFTs. Anything else you see in the horizon? What else are you taking a look at? Are you still charting Ethereum by hand? How's that going?
Oh yeah. No, that's on my Twitter. Crypto_noble. It's, I do Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? I think the other theme is people are looking for feeless transactions, right? As this metaverse NFT game picks up, I also think in DeFi, like Avalanche and Trader Joe, right? A lot of people don't seem to get that, ETH in 2017 went from like 250 in November or 150 in late fall to 1500. So you could have some sort of shocking rally in a layer one. A lot of people thought it was going to be Solana. VCs had big bags and that hit profit taking. Could be Avalanche, right? DeFi is really moving over there. So Phantom broke out or is trying to break out above 2.5, right? And everybody, including me, missed trades like Elrond. So some of this layer one and DeFi stuff, Matic is up today, right? We were pounding the table on that. We had to call, Ian had to call way back our CEO. And I'm saying, hey, anything that reduces fees is going to be a hot trade between now and say the end of the year or possibly all the way out to ETH 2.0, because the little guy wants to get involved, right? And there are a lot of good alternatives.
Yeah, it definitely feels like there's a lot more legitimate projects now than there were back in 2017, 2018. And I hate to always compare it, but you see one, you think it's going to happen again. I know it's not going to happen similarly, but there's a lot of good projects, and then there's a lot of worthless projects.
Right. I mean, Novogratz from Galaxy Digital said that, NFTs, metaverse, and gaming will be around. And, some gaudy number, like only 25% of existing cryptos will make it. Now, that's extreme, but, he's been through bear markets, as have you and I. So, you want to get good entry points in good projects, not get caught up in FOMO, right? The best time to do the risk management lecture is when the market's going up, because you don't want to have to give people the risk management lecture after a 40% dip.
So since the market's going up, what's the risk management lecture in a nutshell? Because we all have the attention span of like a teeny little Drossville
in a
fly.
nutshell. Okay. So if you see a giant green candle and you own the project and you feel like getting up and dancing, sell half your position, right? As soon as you want to cheer, like SANDBOX the other day, sell. That's step number one. Step number two, if you miss it, okay, don't worry. There will be a dip at some point. Okay. Buy some of this high quality stuff when it's down. Like look at ETH, right? ETH was at, I don't know, something like 4,000 3 days ago. Looked like it was going to go to zero. And now it's back up at 44. So buy red, sell big green, buy big red, right? And when you buy big red, use a stop. Don't call us back in 3 months and go, oh, I bought it at 6 and I hodled it all the way down to 50 cents. No. If it's a mega trend, you'll be right. You get a lot of gratification. If it's not, you get stopped out and you find a new trade.
That's great advice. It's like learning to go against your instinct.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. I call it fade yourself. Right. Fade yourself. Like when you're scared, that's why the token metric site is useful, right? In other words, if our portfolios are picking it up and there's a red day, hey, or if it's up 40%, you don't necessarily have to FOMO into that. If anything, pay yourself, right? It's like you ask for it in 10 words or less. I know it's let me elevator pitch it. Pay yourself and protect yourself.
That's great advice. And I also like the fade yourself, and you're not talking about like a sweet haircut, like a sweet fade from the 80s. I love that.
Right. You can fade yourself. I mean, in token metric spheres, we call it the lampshade theory. When you want to party with a lampshade on your head, sell.
That's great advice. Great advice. All right. So we talked about a whole bunch of stuff. I think we have a good idea where the market's going. And I know you're a busy guy, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time. But any final parting thoughts?
when you have a mega trend, okay, when you have a trend in general, trends always last longer than you think, right? So you've heard the trend is your friend. This is an area of the market with the metaverse trade and some of these layer ones where trends can last longer than you think. So if you're sitting home going, oh, I missed it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, right? There's a way to get in. And like the commercial said, fortune does favor the brave, right? In other words, SANDBOX went from 88 cents to $3 and everyone thought the trade was over. It's not. It's not. You know, traders take profits and that gives investors time to get in. So if you see the market rush up and then rush back, you know, you might go, ooh, that's not a good candle, but it could be an opportunity to buy. So it requires a change in perspective. And if the market, keyword, no FOMO, if the market proves that you can buy a dip and make money, then it's a bull market, right? Even if you don't buy the dip, if you look at it and you see dip up, the trend is your friend.
That is some great advice. And I definitely think with like the time that it takes to build out the metaverse, there's definitely a lot more potential upside for this. So anyone who hasn't tried it yet, definitely check out Token Metrics. Now with 2.0, you can categorize everything. You can literally find the best metaverse projects every single day. Discounted link down in the description, any pinned comment, special Black Friday discount until I think Monday. So you guys don't want to miss this. But Bill, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure, man. I have the best time when you're here. So thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, and we'll see you again soon.
See you soon.